Hey guys, Mr. Catlin here. I'm posting this video along with today's work. I figure there might be some of you that struggle with the last few questions that are on the assignment. So what I've done is I've made a little copy of them starting on number 5. I think 1 through 4 are pretty much super easy and everybody should get those correct. I don't see any complications there. But starting on number 5, I can see there being some issues. So I'll go through these, and you can watch this video if you need the help. If you don't need the help, then don't worry about clicking on it. It's fine. Um, Number 5, though, what we're looking at is we're trying to write an equation that matches these angles and how they're set up. And so what we have to be looking for in these situations to write these equations is there a straight angle? Is there a right angle? Are there vertical angles? So those are the three types that we've been talking about. And when you look at ACB here, which is the one they have you kind of focus on, A to C to B, that's that straight angle I just highlighted in red across the top. Okay, so it makes a straight line from left to right. And so within that straight angle, we have X, we have this 148, and we have another X. So if you think of it as like a tape diagram, your total is the 180 degrees that forms the straight angle. So you have 180 degrees all together across this angle. It's a straight line. And then to build up that angle, you have all kinds of different ones. You have these two X's that are inside of it, right? So you've got not just one, but you've got two X's. And then you also have this big obtuse 148 sized angle in the center. And so that makes up the 180 that is the straight angle. And so essentially you have this diagram that matches one of these equations. And if you guys remember writing these, we have two x's and we have 148 added together to give us a total of this. So that's the equation that we're looking for, which would be B in this scenario, or the second option, 2x's plus 148. Oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong. Doesn't equal 90, it equals 180, so it'd be C. Okay, so C is our selection there, and that kind of helps us answer a question later, possibly, I think, where it has you find the value of X. I can't remember. Maybe it comes back to this one or not, but we really just want to be able to set up that equation. If we wanted to solve for X, we would just subtract 148 divided by 2. All right, let's move on. The number 6 question right here is not a straight angle. It's not vertical angles. This little green box right here is telling me that we have a pair of complementary angles. Remember the complementary angles. Giving somebody a compliment is the right thing to do. So it's forming a right angle, complementary. And that means that this angle that we're looking at right here, 2x plus 4, whatever that turns out to be, plus 30, which is right here, these two angles add up to 90. So this tape diagram would have a total number of 90. And we're thinking about things inside of that add up to give us the 90-degree total. Well, there's two parts. There's a 30, which is kind of small, it'd be like over here. There's a 30-degree part, and then there's this other part that comes in the form of an expression. Not even a letter or a number. It comes in like letters and numbers being multiplied and added together. So we have to represent that with that expression. So 2x plus 4 plus the 30 from the other angle equals 90 total. And it just wants to know which equation represents that relationship. And so we're looking for something that adds all of these things together, right? Adds everything together. So no subtraction. We're not taking things away. We're not taking things away. And it adds up to 90 as a total, which is why we don't want to choose that one. And it has to be D. 2x plus 4. So they've got the 2x plus 4 in there, plus the 30. And all of that adds up to equal 90. That's what we're looking for in this situation. So that's number 6. Let me open up number 7 and number 8, the next two problems. And make this some space over here to write. All right, number 7 is dealing with the exact same problem. So we already have, the expression from the last problem. It was 2x plus 4 plus 30 equals 90. We already have that from the previous problem. What they want us to do is to find x's value? Well, first thing that we want to do is we want to combine these like terms of 30 and 4 because they have the same parts. Now, whenever I combine those, I get this expression or this equation, 2x plus 34 equals 90. And now I can go through and I can start my solving process. I want to knock out the 34 with subtraction. So when you subtract 90 minus 34, you do have to borrow. And 10 minus 4 is 6, and 8 minus 3 is 5. So now we have this situation where two x's are equal to an answer of 56. So to find out what one x would be equal to, we just take 56 and we divide it by 2. Let's see what happens when we do that. 2 goes into 5 2 times with a difference of 1. We drop down our 6 and we see that 2 goes into 16 8 times. So our answer that we're looking for here is 28, which would be B. Okay, so that's question number 7. Let's look at number 8. All right, it does go back to that one that we wrote earlier. I thought that I'd put that on there. Okay, so the one that we wrote earlier for this straight angle was we had 2 x's plus 148, and that equaled the 180 degree straight line that was created from this ACB angle. So this was our equation. Now it wants us to find what the value of x would be. So to do that, we first got to subtract 148 from both sides. Got to knock out that 148. And that, if I like to count up on those, 2 gets me to 150 and then 30 more. So 32. And then if 2x is equal to 32, then 32 divided by 2, which is 16, would give me what x's value is. That would be A. All right, that's question number A. Let's move on to the last two. Day 14, 9, and 10. And on these last two, it's all based upon this graphic right here. All right. So let me zoom in on that a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, so this is our graphic. We have, this is 134 degrees. This is y. And this down here is 3 x's plus 2 degrees. So it's another one of those expression degrees like we saw on number 8. All right, so this particular one right here, you start looking at it, there's a couple of different ways you could begin. You could see some supplementary action between 134 and y. You could also see some vertical angles between 134 and 3x plus 2. I'm going to start with what the question asks. It says, select the equation below that is true about the relationship. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is the answers. I mean, the answers kind of give away some things. If it equals a total of 90, that suggests to me that there is a complementary or 90-degree angle somewhere. But if I look at this graphic, there is no 90-degree angle. So I know I can rule those two out of the problem. All right. And if it equals 180, that suggests that there's a supplementary or a straight line. And we do see some supplementary straight lines. We see one right here, here, that we have two lines intersecting. So there's always going to be some supplementary action when two lines intersect. But if we look at what equals 180, what it does is it adds together 3x plus 2, which would have been this big obtuse angle over here. It adds it together with this other obtuse angle, 134. Now, those two angles added together are not going to equal 180 because they're actually vertical to each other. They're not on the same straight line. They're opposite of an intersection. So those two are actually vertical, which is, I chose this one last because I wanted you to do one of each example. You've done some supplementary, you did a complementary with the 90 degrees, and now you're going to look at a vertical angle relationship. And the relationship between 134 and 3x plus 2, since they are vertical, is that they equal one another. They have the same size. They're both obtuse and they're identical in size. So that's the one we want to pick, something that looks like that, and that would be B. All right, so you're going to select B on number 9, and then on number 10, you use that equation to help you solve for x and then find y also with supplementary relationship. So let's go ahead and solve this one to find out what x's value is for number 10, because this is number 10 right afterwards. The first thing we want to do is knock out the 2, right? If we knock out the 2, we're left with 3x, but we got to take 2 away from the 134, and we get this. And to find out what 1x is worth, if 3 of them is worth 132, we need to divide 132 by 3. And it will go into it 4 times, and then another 4, right? So x is 44. So that rules out this one, and it rules out this one. All right, so we're down to it's either B or C. We just got to find out what y is equal to. Well, y has found itself on this straight angle right here with 134. So that tells me I can write the equation 134 plus y is 180 degrees, like a straight line. And so to find y, we just have to subtract 180 and 134. 6 is what I'll get for the difference between 80 and 34. And then 8, I'm counting up, so this is really going to become a 4 when I count up, so it would be 46 when I subtract. Because you kind of think of it as borrowing from that 18 and making that a 10. That might help you see it a little clearly. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 17 and 13 have a difference of 4. So y is 46, which wouldn't be B, but it would be C. So C is our choice there for this one. All right, and that's the help video for you guys that might struggle with today's lesson. I know it had some harder questions on there, but hopefully this was helpful and you learned something from it. And you only got one more day till spring break, so hang in there. See you guys.